Good evening, Mount Vernon. Today is April 10th, Wednesday, April 10th, 2024. My name is Caitlin Gleason and welcome to the Mount Vernon City Council public session. I am President of the City Council. Just to start out, can everybody please take your phones and silence them, put them on vibrate? Just want to give a little housekeeping. There is an exit in the rear of the room to your left. There's an exit in the front of the room to your left. There is a ladies' bathroom right outside the door. To the right outside the door is a set of stairways in case of emergency. Down the hallway by the rotunda stairs, there's a men's room. Also a stairway in case of emergency, and outside the planning department, there is an AED machine just in case of emergencies. That's an artificial defibrillator. I think that is it. And let's do the Pledge of Allegiance led by Councilman Boxell.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we have two public speakers tonight, but I am going to reverse the order and have Miss McCleary, if you could come up and state your name, your address. You have 3 minutes and 1 additional minute to wrap it up.
First of all, I'd like to say good evening to everyone. Thank you for letting me come today to speak. Coming today my name is Tavinas McCleary. I live at 2931 Cortlandt Street, which is between First and I say Pike, but it's not Pike. And I'm coming because we had a company move in 3 years ago called Dual Fuel, and they have 3 parking spaces, lots, but they never park in them. They park on the streets and take up all the parking from the tenants that live in the community there. And I've been going over speaking to them, asking them, their manager, can you please have your people park in their parking lot? He says, well, we have a lot of people now. And I've said, yeah, but they don't even use the parking lot. Can they please park in the parking lot? We have people in our buildings that are nurses and doctors that work nights and they come home and there's no parking. And I come from work at 11:30 in the morning and there's no parking. So, and I'm tired and I don't want to sit there for an hour, half an hour and try to wait for parking. And to walk, I have some issues with arthritis in my legs, so I don't really walk all the time. Sometimes because of the parking issues, I have to take a transit pair, accessory to get around, so I don't have to worry about parking. So I'm asking the council today if you would consider either residential parking or doing something for handicap area in the neighborhood. That's basically it.
Okay, we'll answer at the end of this and then we'll go into the presentation if that's okay, because we don't have any other speakers. So was there anything else that you wanted to add?
No, that's everything. I met businesswoman, so.
Okay, you can sit and then we'll answer. We'll start off with Councilman Boxell.
Yeah, I was saying, I don't think we have anything in book that can stop them from parking on the street. I wish they would be good neighbors. But yeah, we can look into getting some municipal parking in that area that might alleviate your issue. So, but yeah, let's talk about it. Thank you. That's it.
Councilman Thompson?
Yes, hi, Ms. McCleary. I was looking up the address as I received, thank you. I was looking up the address and that's a two-way street with very limited parking on one side because they do have the yellow lines and things of that nature. I'm familiar with Dual Fuel because they service a lot of buildings in the area. So I'll give them a call in the morning and possibly stop by because it is, as Councilman Boxell said, it's being a good neighbor. And if you have a parking lot, you should utilize your parking lot. Just like if you own a home, you should utilize your driveway before utilizing the street, just to make sure that those who don't have a driveway have somewhere to park, right? It's just being respectful of your neighbors. So I'll call and have that conversation and look into what further we can do to assist, okay? Thank you.
Councilman Potteet?
Thank you, Council President, and thank you for coming. I have a question for, I guess, council, our commercial parking process. Does this trip into that or it's something completely separate?
I mean, our commercial parking is really meant for the commercial trucks.
Commercial trucks,
Right.
So,
So, I mean, I think what Councilman Thompson was saying was a good idea, just to have a social, you know.
got it. So then the one thing that I would say is please stay on top of us, right? Our job is to work for you and help you. So we will do what we can to move forward, but if you're not getting the relief that you need, we're here. Come on back and please keep on talking to us. Thanks.
Councilman Thompson?
Yes, you're not talking about just commercial vehicles, because it sounded like when you were speaking, you were talking about workers parking their regular cars on your area, right? So it's not the commercial vehicles, it's just for clarity. Thank you. Mhm.
And Councilwoman Brown?
Ms. McCleary, thank you for coming out. And I am sorry to hear that the business isn't being a good neighbor. I think, you know, the council members touched on it, right? We don't have regulations. If it's a normal vehicle, they're allowed to park on the streets. There's no residential parking. But I will say that we're in the process of a comprehensive plan, right? And parking is an issue throughout the city, not just in your neighborhood. I would encourage you to come out to those meetings to discuss your concerns, because I think the making residential parking is something that we need to look at citywide as opposed to in one neighborhood, right? So, and if you don't come out to those meetings, that concern that you have won't be expressed and it won't be incorporated into that comprehensive plan. So I can, you know, in full transparency, I don't think there'll be an immediate fix unless the business decides to mandate or require their employees to park in their parking lots. It seems a bit selfish to me to have 3 and still want to use street parking. But if we're being honest about the change to residential parking or municipal parking, it won't be an immediate change. It would have to come with a comprehensive plan, and that will probably take about approximately a year or so. So I don't want to give false hope, but I do want to be transparent with the process. Thank you, Council President.
Ms. McCleary, thank you so much for coming out. One thing that I will add is we'll talk to the necessary departments, because maybe closer to your building, we could put a handicap space, but that will come with a study. So I have to see what the process is with that. But again, like what Councilman Potteet said, like, keep in touch with us. I think our legislative aide, Antoinette Anderson, is over there. So if you can give her, raise your hand, Antoinette. If you could give her your email. Okay, and she'll give you our email, and so we can just go back and forth and see how we can potentially get that for you. All right, with that being said, we have a presentation tonight. And we are up to our second speaker, Mr. Terrence Horton. State your name and your address.
Terrence Horton, 12 East 3rd Street. Good afternoon. Good afternoon to the great people of the city of Mount Vernon and to this esteemed body of council people and legislators. Warm greetings, Council President Gleason. I'd like to introduce to you the Sentinel Consortium. What I'm going to do is have Lynn Bailey, Senior Vice President of Sentinel, will do the narration, but I also would like to introduce to you Dylan Salmons, Senior Vice President of Penrose, William DeVal, Penrose, and Bianca Sosa of Penrose, and Daniel Simons, President of Royal Power Energy. Okay,
First of all, good evening, and thank you very much for allowing us this opportunity to present our plans for the construction and the development of the Sentinel and 3rd in downtown Mount Vernon. If we go to the second slide, as we go through this presentation, I'd like you to just keep a few things in mind. You're going to see a lot of numbers, and we're going to talk about different plans. But try and keep these 3 points in mind, please. Please note how much emphasis we've placed on giving back to the community, number one. Number two, please note the emphasis and the importance that we've weaved into what we're doing into job creation. And not just regular old jobs. We're talking about jobs that will give the folks here in Mount Vernon a living wage. Third thing I'd like you to keep in mind and watch as we go through this presentation is what we're doing with the Mount Vernon City School District. We have partnered with them to try and grab as many of those kids, especially the kids in their STEAM Academy, to get them into our 501c3, our nonprofit organization, our free vocational apprentice training academy, and have them get real world skills from what they're learning in school. So keep those 3 things in mind as we go through this presentation. Yes, we're going to talk numbers, but I want you to really focus on what we're doing for the community right here in Mount Vernon. I personally believe that this is what I would call a disruptive development and construction model that should be followed. It really should be the paradigm going forward. With that, I will come back and talk about some of the things I just spoke about, but let me introduce William from Penrose. He will take you through concept plans and different details with the development.
So much. Good evening, everybody. Nice to meet you. My name is Will DeBella. I am a senior developer with Penrose. We are partners with the Sentinel team on Sentinel on 3rd. I'm going to walk you through some details on the development. Happy to answer questions at the end. You can flip to the next slide. Here, just a little bit about our partnership. I think Sentinel has been discussed, but Penrose is a 50-year organization that is focused on the production of mixed income housing across the country. You're speaking here with the New York team that we focus on all things New York State, from downstate all the way to Western New York and up. That's our specialty. It's what we know how to do. We work with municipalities across the state and create unique solutions based on unique problems in different communities. And that's what we want to try to do here in Mount Vernon. Next slide, please. This is a little bit about the site itself. It is, as discussed, a mix of public and private, both in the project as a whole, but also the site itself. The blue parcels there are privately owned, including one owned by Mr. Horton, Sentinel in the middle. And the balance are public sites, a mix owned by the IDA, City of Mount Vernon IDA, and a mix owned by the city itself. The cities are in green highlight and the IDA properties are in blue. It makes up the portion of the development, which will combine into one tax lot to provide one mixed use and mixed income development. There's a little bit more detail on the proposed disposition and acquisition strategy of how those will all come together into one parcel, but we'll get to that at the end of the presentation. Next slide, please. As you can kind of see, that same L shape of the lots can be shown here on our site plan. We're proposing here a 7-story mixed-use building with apartments above grade. It's a 7-story building, so 6 stories of apartments above, a total of about 188 residential apartments with a really dynamic, hopefully ground floor with a mix of different uses. Starting along 3rd Street, which is currently, a retail walkable boulevard, we're hoping to really expand upon that and reactivate it with retail, that purple square that there at the top, about 6,000 square feet, that can be general retail for businesses in the area, and a small cultural center on the corner of their 3rd and 4th Avenue. But the real heart of our ground floor plan, and something that we've talked about extensively, is the goal to bring a strong industrial tenant in Royal Power Energy, which is going to be providing clean energy infrastructure products and builds and installs them throughout the state, and matching that with a workforce development center right next to it, allowing people coming out of the STEAM program in the high school to learn about the types of jobs that are right next door at Royal Power Energy and the skills that are needed in this new age economy business. I think we'll get a lot more detail on that from the Sentinel team, so I'll keep on going. But that is our kind of dynamic mixed use ground floor with a public access park in the back and apartments above. This is a more 3D dynamic render of it to give you a better idea with the retail. If you can go back to the last slide, please. With the retail along 3rd Street, a residential interest in the small cultural facility on the corner there. And then in the back, the Workforce Development Center and the light manufacturing, which is going to be solely tenanted by Royal Power Energy. 6 stories of apartments beneath and parking below. And in the back, a public access park. Next slide, please. That last slide is just a very diagrammatic massing to show you generally what we're envisioning. But this is the much better idea of what we'll develop as we go into design and further, and we come back and go for site plan approval and take comments on the right architecture that fits for the area. But this is generally, these are buildings that we've done with our designer, and we'll look to kind of replicate some of these concepts and turn that box into something that's a bit more appealing. Next slide, please. On to programming. So the apartments above is a mix of incomes. We've done a lot of mixed income development across the state and feel it's really important to have families of different household incomes to create a more healthy environment in the property. So right now we have a good amount of apartments at 65,000 to about 130,000. That's the 60 to AMI range, which is a strong workforce household and workforce housing tier. And then some more affordable apartments at 30 and 50% AMI below. Next slide, please. This slide gives you an idea of those same households and those earning households in those, the same households and the incomes earned by those households and the jobs that would be created by this development and how they could match up. Looking at the janitorial staff is more of a 30 AMI range, but also we'll have people working in the Workforce Development Center at around $60,000 that could tier up well with our 60 AMI or 50 AMI range. And then jobs at Royal Power Energy could be provided around $75,000 approximately, which could work well at the 60 AMI range. And then finally, electrical engineers at Royal Power Energy could have a range 90,000 or above, which hits right at our top tier of around 80,000 to 130,000. And with that, I'll turn it over to Len, who's going to talk a little bit more about Royal Power Energy and what we're looking for at the community development. Thank you.
Thanks, Will. So you noticed a couple of things. First of all, you notice that we have a community center built into or specified into the building. That's for the community. Then you notice also, Will talked about the type of jobs that we're creating. These are good paying jobs. Let's go to the next post right there. So over the summer, we had the privilege to have a more extended presentation directly to the Mount Vernon City School District, and they were absolutely excited about some of the things that we'd like to do with the kids in the STEAM Academy, such as getting them into our vocational training. And in particular, there is one company, as we've mentioned, Royal Power Energy. Their technology is quite unique in what they're doing. It is perhaps at the tip of sustainability, and it's a system called OmniPower Power Factor Correction. And the Royal Power currently has a contract with Con Edison to relieve 16 megawatts in their Jamaica network station. Why am I mentioning this? Because we need these kids, we need to train them in order to bring them through our vocational apprentice training school and be able to train them on how to program the OmniPower, how to install it. I'm going to take a break and give Simon maybe 30 seconds, and you can talk about what you're doing with Con Edison and how that translates to what we're talking about with vocational apprentice training. Dan?
Good evening, and thank you for having us. So I think it's very important to look at the fact that our youth of today have no direction. Hands-on jobs, I think, is the future, especially in the electrical field. We're partnering with this woman her name is Dr. Medine, who does vocational training for Suffolk County, who has over 1,000 students a year. She's very familiar with the program. She has electrical, plumbing, cooking, learning English. I mean, it's incredible what this woman does. And we're looking to get the students from Mount Vernon and teach them hands-on how to install and maintain and program these systems that are going to go in. Now, the way the electric is going in this country, every time you turn around, the rates are going up. Everything is becoming electrified. New York City put a moratorium on no more gas and oil and all that. Everything's going to be electric. And that's what we're going to do here in Mount Vernon, they want to make everything electric. And this system is completely energy efficient. Not only are we going to use them in the Con Edison system, which Con Edison approved them, but we're going to be using them in other states too. We're getting inquiries from Las Vegas. We're getting inquiries from the new Intel they're building in Ohio. So everything would be based out of here and would be distributed out into the country. I'm very excited about it personally because I was one of those kids that had no direction. I didn't know what I wanted to do in life, but once I started working hands-on, I spent 40 years in Con Edison. I enjoyed it, I loved it, and I retired from there, and I think it's a great opportunity to give to our students. I really do.
Thanks, Anna. So on the other side, we've partnered with Penrose, the Penrose Foundation, and the Penrose Foundation has a long and storied and successful history of granting all types of gifts to students, all types of education packages to students. And so between our vocational apprentice training and the Penrose Foundation, certainly it will be a game changer in Mount Vernon. In addition, we've been talking about jobs. Obviously, there'll be jobs created in the construction area because it's a large construction project. But also our plan is to really bring these folks along who go through our vocational apprentice training, bring them through our job placement program. And as Will highlighted before, it's really good paying jobs. We're talking about electricians, engineers. It runs a gamut of opportunity that we're bringing to Mount Vernon with the Sentinel and Third development. Let's go to the next slide. And one of the things about our vocational apprentice training is that we've done it before. We've already taken kids and put them through our program. In 2014, I want to say, we took a whole group of kids out of Mount Vernon High School and we taught them how to install LED lights. And they installed lights in Mount Vernon High School. They went through our vocational apprentice training program. We've got the program, we've got the process down. We understand how to do it. This development really is almost like putting us on steroids is what we're going to do with these kids. Let's go to the next slide. So if you go down 4th Avenue, that's what you see on the left. It's time for a change. It's time to, as the slide says, out with the old and in with the new. It's time to really take downtown and really give it a boost. And that's exactly what the Sentinel and Third development and construction plan will do. Now, very importantly, we've already got anchor tenants that are committed already to being in this development. Companies such as McKissick & McKissick, one of the oldest African-American construction firms in the country. We've got Royal Power represented here. We've got the Hill Group who want to and have already committed to being in the development. Hill is $1 billion insurance company. So we've already got the committed tenants. We've got the plans. We're excited about this opportunity to really bring revitalization to this area in Mount Vernon. So with that, I'm going to introduce Dylan, and he'll go to some of the budget numbers.
Thanks, Len. Good evening, everybody. I'm Dylan Salmons. I'm one of the partners at Penrose, and I oversee our New York region. It's great to be here tonight with you guys. We've had a tremendous time authoring this vision for what we see at the corner here. The project wouldn't be anything if it weren't for some of the capitalization that we're thinking about. There's a lot of numbers wrapped in this pie chart, but effectively we're working with a capital stack of debt, equity, and subordinate housing loan programs that are creatures and creations of New York State finance. And so these are things that exist, they're reliable, they're allocated to our state budget, and they're deployed to housing projects like this. There are things Penrose has done in joint venture with other partnerships across over 2,000 units here in New York. So tried and true program. We know how to work within them. We know how to deploy them to create really cool buildings. The chart on the left is that sources stack. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different sources of stuff. The general cocktail is that 40% of the capital is raised through the sale syndication of the federal low-income housing tax credit together with the state of New York's low-income housing tax credit. That's the equity that makes up the backbone of a lot of affordable housing projects like this. It's a way that we don't need to then hike rents or return a big slug of money to an investor. They take a stream of credits, they wind down over time, and then they politely walk away in year 16. The rest of the multicolored spectrum there is subordinate loan funds that are available to projects that are structured just like this. So commercial subsidies from HCR of 1.6% of the stack, Westchester County's Flex Fund, which is a reallocation of federal ARPA funds that are available to projects just like this that have an end date of the end of this year and need to get committed to deals just like this. And who we've talked to and are very interested in us applying to the project as soon as possible. Miscellaneous sources are smaller grant funds that we pursue, our foundation money, et cetera. Gap financing that we're still looking for. We're at about a 3% financing gap, which across a project of this size is a pretty workable number this early on. And then the state's senior debt that steps in between the green and the blue. That's New York State Homes and Community Renewal doing this work on behalf of our citizens. So it's not possible without that. On the uses side, this is our new reality of building buildings in this era. And so what was once construction costs in this pie chart that would have been 75%, and then soft costs would have been about 20%, and then 5% would have been for carrying costs. The reality of rates of where our economy is right now is that the soft cost reserves and carrying the financing kind of components to this thing, in addition to architects and others, has skyrocketed into like the 40+%. And so that's a big feature of this pie chart that if those who don't look at these all day, maybe not notice, but it's a reality of what we're doing. And it kind of requires us to create all these financing mechanisms on the left-hand side to deal with this economy. So a little bit of background on the numbers. Big picture thing, it's almost $30 million injection into this location that we're pretty proud of. And the why we're here. So, great, really cool vision, incredible partnership, sound financial structure that's been deployed and exercised elsewhere effectively, site control. So the starting block to any residential and multifamily development project. The project is, as Terrence and Will and Leonard said, is really an amalgamation of several different ownerships, City of Mount Vernon, IDA, and private parcels. The consortium is working on the site control of those private parcels. We have been working with a opportunity to assign those private parcels once under our control into the IDA, who would also receive the other public sites and enter into a 99-year ground lease with the development partnership to raise this building. It keeps the city as a steward of the asset. It keeps control and watchful eyes on its successful management and its use as public good for the long term. And it effectively allows us to leverage the additional sources here. And so that's the concept. 99-year ground lease. We're proposing a $2.7 million payment for the publicly owned sites or the amount allowed by HCR. They're the big dog in the financing stack. They get to command what is appraised value and what's achievable. That's the law of the land, so to speak. But we think the 2.7 will definitely appraise here. And the concept is that all of that gets paid at the ground lease signing and construction closing. And so we take what is a ground lease that could have been amortized over the 99 years and pay it entirely upfront for present value money. That's the concept. So this is a little bit of a flow chart for people who are more visual than numbers oriented. Effectively, you have the city-owned land. I'm going to go left to right. Effectively, you have the city-owned parcels in the dark green box at the top. Those get disposed of to the IDA. The lighter green box below is what the consortium is assigning site control of now. We similarly assign that or dispose of it to the IDA. We enter into this option to ground lease. That allows us to exercise site control to go chase the financing, to secure soft funding applications, and to go spend money towards the $130 million project. That ground lease is then assigned to the developer, Penrose Sentinel, in total joint venture. And then it gets assigned at the end of the construction closing to this tax credit partnership. And so at the end of the day, you've got orange box and you'll have blue box on the other side. The IDA will function as ground lessor. The tax credit partnership will function as ground lessee. That's the general flow. So why is this important and why are we talking about it now? Time is everything in development. Time kills deals is our slogan. So site control right now, we've been working on this really since December. But you see on the top this sort of pictorial that we've been going through quarter one. working through Q2. It's our goal and ambition to be through site control by the end of this quarter, right at the beginning of it. Enter into approvals around site plan. As Will's pointed out, we have, concept level of best architecture. We need to get into actual site plan approvals to dictate the ground floors, to talk about the elevations, to talk about materiality, and to be in conformance with the comprehensive plan. It's the little chartreuse green dot in the center there. To begin working with the IDA through a pilot structure, which effectuates pretty well actually through this ground lease that we're talking about. That's the general mechanism for doing pilots on multifamily housing through IDAs. Apply for ESD and Housing Flex Fund funding, again, linchpin being site control. And then working towards our construction and ultimately building permits. Our hope is to be breaking ground on this thing by the end of next year. Kind of all starts with a meeting like this tonight. So that's why we're here. That's why we have a sense of urgency. That's why we're excited about this thing. We're about to head down the ski slopes. We're really excited to be doing it here. I think that's it.
I hope that surmised everything and put it in a an easy discernible floor mat. Now, are there any questions from the honorable body? Real brief.
Councilwoman Brown?
Thank you. Thank you, gentlemen, for coming out to present. I do have a question for Penrose. So you all previously presented to us before when I was on the real estate committee last year. And there was a breakdown of apartments. Has that shifted, or is this still the same breakdown that was shared with us during the real estate committee meeting?
Sure, I'll take that.
Mike, please. Sorry. Everyone at home needs to be able to hear you.
As they should. No change.
Okay. So one of the concerns that we expressed at the real estate committee was that it leaned a little on the low income housing side, right? And in that area, it's already a dilapidated area. Continuing to bring low income housing into that area, in my opinion, isn't the best idea. We had a project on the corner of 3rd and 3rd, actually, that was said to be the greatest thing ever, going to be revitalization. It's going to do all these things for the community, and the community has remained the same. So how exactly will this project be different?
Yeah, sure. I can maybe take the first stab at that and Liz can step in to give a word. The area is a little bit dilapidated currently. This building will be beautiful. It will make a market impact around as you walk around. There is a significant workforce housing component to this project, and we have to work within the rules of the federal and New York State guidelines for affordable housing for the financing that was shown up there. We can investigate slightly higher AMI tiers, but it does come at a financial detriment. And that's something I think we walked through in the real estate committee, but it's something we can continue to investigate as we move forward in the months to come. Hopefully that answers your questions. Fine.
If I may add just 1 sentence, not 2 cents. I think also just going back to how I started with the way that we've weaved the community into this building and giving back to the community. As you saw that we've put a 5,000 square foot workforce development. We've put a community facility into the building. All of these things going forward bring benefit to the community of Mount Vernon. So we're not going anywhere. Secondly, we're also bringing industry and jobs into that area. That area has not seen any revitalization for 40 years, maybe? So we have, as I said when I started, I believe that this is a disruptive model that we're discussing with you, where we're taking the time to bring jobs, we're giving back to the community, and we're trying to grab those kids from the STEAM Academy, from the high school, and bring them through our 501c3. So I think it differs from anything that I've seen done in Mount Vernon, and I think it's a huge benefit to the community and to an area that has been completely forsaken for very long.
So you say it brings jobs in, what type of jobs? Like what tier, what salary ranges are we talking about? How many jobs are we bringing in?
Well, on the construction side, we're talking about at least 400. That's the number that we have, 400. And then let's talk about salaries. We're talking about electricians, engineers that will be needed for working with the Royal Power Omnipower system. So we're talking about a salary range of anywhere from $60,000 to $90,000 to $100,000.
And that's the bulk of the jobs? So the construction jobs are
Construction-
semi-temporary, right?
Notice I didn't focus on the construction
Okay.
job because that's going to be a lot of construction jobs.
Mm.
I'm really focusing on what I believe is the disruptive part of what we're doing, which is training kids, training people to be professionals, but training them in this new sustainable green workforce. We're going to have solar projects. We're going to have EV charging. All of that will be taught in our vocational academy school. And that translates to really good paying jobs. They could stay with us and work for one of our companies, or they could go anywhere with the skills that they're going to learn. And so we're talking about at a high range, somewhere around $90,000 a year. And that's a good paying job. So if a kid wants an alternative to a four-year college, come into our vocational apprentice training. And as I said, again, I think that's something that we're doing completely different than any other developer that, you know, I'm sure you hear from a lot of developers.
Do we have projected numbers is what I'm trying to get at? Like what bulk of the jobs will be electrician jobs? What bulk of the jobs will be electrical engineers? Like,
Sure.
can I have an idea of what we're projecting here?
Yes, thank you for those questions. The bulk of the jobs are going to be varied through electrical technicians. NOC is the acronym for Network Operating Center. Those individuals in the NOC will be technicians. So all of those jobs that we will be contributing to this project they start in the area of $70,000 and peak at $150,000 and above. Once they come through the entire process, we can have people working at our project as much as $200,000 a year. And very important, I want you to be very mindful of this. Cheryl McKissick, which is the largest employer of MWBEs in the entire state, she has given us an anchor tenant lease within this building. She is already committed to funding the vocational school, and she, once you come through our process, Cheryl McKissick is dominant throughout the entire region, not just in the state of New York. So we will be more than the incubator. We will be literally the vehicle that introduces young people from the city of Mount Vernon, young and the not so young, into jobs that literally have never been ever introduced to the city of Mount Vernon. Then we have Hilb. Hilb is one of the largest insurance companies within in this entire region. So they are going to be investing, and they've given us an anchor tenant lease for the city, for the Sentinel, and they will be hiring. That's all been inked into our structured contract. Then we have RPE.
Mr. Horton, I'm sorry, I don't mean to cut you off. What I'm looking for is projected numbers or a frame or range or something.
Go back to the slide that shows the numbers. Go back to the slide. There you go.
No, what numbers are those?
That's 91%. That's electricians, and their starting salary starts at 75%. And that's totally irrelevant, and that's germane to the largest commercial holder of the project.
So you're saying there's gonna be 91 jobs that are gonna be electricians? What exactly are you showing? What are these numbers?
We put a projection, which was a modest evaluation.
But these are AMIs, Mr. Horton. What I'm asking you, what are the jobs that you're gonna bring in?
We're 75 to 100 jobs on our first phase of operation. Those are permanent jobs, and that's just with RPE. Then we have McKissick and McKissick that will be hiring. Then we have Hill that will be hiring.
No, I got that. Yeah, I
Okay.
think let's breathe, right?
Yeah.
I think you're not understanding my question. What I would want to know is, what are we projecting? What does McKissick think they're going to hire? How many people do we think Sentinel on Third will hire? How many of those jobs will be some of the electrician jobs, some of the electrical engineer jobs? You don't have to answer now if you don't have it, right? If you can get that information to me, that'd be helpful in making decisions moving forward. But you're saying that they're going to be quality tenants there. I get that.
Yeah.
I want the numbers, right? So that we can have actual information so we can make informed decisions. That's
We
all I'm
have
saying.
minimum from the time the project starts 100 skilled jobs that will function from the RPE by itself. Then we will have teachers, instructors for the vocational school that will continuously transition young people from high school into gainful employment. So that's where you're talking about, that's another 50 jobs with that. I'm the developer, I'm the only licensed, credentialed, vertically integrated Black developer in all of Westchester County and Mount Vernon. I will be at least, those are 50 jobs that I will have permanent jobs because I am in a part.
Why don't we break down to the 2,000 square feet?
Please. Thank you.
Okay. Anything else?
Anybody have any other questions? Councilman Potteet?
Mike. I'm excited that you joint ventured with Penrose. Obviously, it's a well-known firm in the field. In full transparency, I teach affordable housing at Columbia. So I'm hoping that I can add some value to the city as we're going forward in this process. There's 3 sets of questions I have. First is with the AMIs. You're going for taxes and bond financing. So it's not a competitive 9% tax credit application. I don't understand why you're proposing 30% or even 50% AMIs, where you could use SLICs, state tax credits, and also the state has a middle income housing program where we could get as high as 90% AMI. I would like to see the project, and I think it's feasible, from 60 to 90%, not 30 to 80%. So I'm curious as to why you're going down that low in the AMIs.
Sure. All those acronyms are very familiar. So I appreciate being on the same page. We can certainly look further into that. I can tell you, though, that we are looking at an income averaging approach here for a full 100% LIHTC eligible basis, which produces the max proceeds, because the tax credit basis will cover the entirety of the development. If you go above 80%, as you know, right, you're looking strictly at SLIC, which you don't have that same equity proceeds. So that financial gap, that 2% will increase marginally, just making our job to execute that much harder. That said, there is room to continue to iterate and research, as we discussed, looking at higher AMI tiers, and something I'm looking forward to discussing further with you.
Even with that, 30% doesn't make sense because you can get the income averaging with 50 to 77, 80% and still qualify. So why 30%?
Well, what you're trying to produce is the maximum amount at 80% AMI. And to do that, if you want to income average back to 60, you got to go lower. So that's the 30% tier, part of which we can provide some rental subsidy for as well.
Got it. That I can tell you from talking to fellow council members, and my own vote wouldn't be to have any 30% AMIs there. So if you have an underwriting model, happy to look at it, because I don't see why 30%. You're losing too much cash flow with those units where you can make it up with 60% AMI numbers that would give you more cash flow for more debt.
If we got rid of the 30s, we'd have to bring some of the 80s down to 60s. So our thinking was we wanted to produce as much middle income housing with this development as possible, maximize the amount of the 80% AMI tier, and that was a way of doing it. But if there are other models that'll produce the same amount of income, as you said, and we can test out some of the other sources you mentioned, middle income and SLIC. Generally, we believe this is the best execution that produces the most proceeds. And because we still have a small financing gap, we think it's the most appropriate way for us to continue to move forward. But of course, we can further iterate. I appreciate the comment.
Appreciate it. Second set of questions, the pilot. Have you figured out what type of pilot that you're going for?
No, that's something we continue to research, but as we showed in the flow chart there, the land will eventually be owned in its entirety under a ground lease by the IDA. So we thought potentially an IDA leaseback structure would be the most appropriate.
Right, but what's the number? I'm sorry, what's the number that you want for the pilot? Do you know?
I can't tell you off the top of my head, but we researched based on comparable projects that have gone through either an Article 11 or other IDA leaseback structures in the area and picked a figure right in that range. Something we discussed as we approach the council moving forward.
Got it. And I have a third question. Getting back to the pilot, I mean, you have your numbers, so it's in there. I would recommend that you show it to us, because you couldn't have gotten that far without saying, what are my taxes in the project?
Absolutely.
Right, so-
We have a number in there. It's based on comparable projects that have also went for pilots. And we'll be approaching the council to test that out, see if we're in the right range. But we do have an assumption in there for now. I'm sorry, I can't even figure it out.
Got it. Last with the ground lease. So you're offering you're asking for a 99-year ground lease, $2.7 million paid all upfront. Any way we can get bumps along the way, right? So 2.7 is a great initial number. But in year 15, as you know, you're going to lose your limited partners. So maybe in year 15, when that happens, we can get another bump and then maybe have escalations every 10 years so that as you benefit, because now we're partners, so as you benefit, we benefit as a city.
Yeah, that's an interesting structure. I haven't seen that before, I don't believe, but something we continue to research. We would just want to make sure that the funds are available either upfront and we can put them aside in escrow to be made in the future. But that's an interesting structure and something I think we're very open to continuing to look into.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you.
Any other questions by council?
Yes.
Councilman Thompson?
I just have a comment, not necessarily a question. I'm actually appreciative of what I see in this project. All the partnerships that are coming along to try to revitalize what 3rd Street between 3rd and 4th Avenue should look like. Because I know growing up not too far from the area and family living within that area, it has been dilapidated for at least 30 plus years. Nothing has been in that area since those who live here, if they can remember Murray's food store on the corner was there and you know, it was different things that wrapped around the corner, but there was nothing substantial that said that this is a livable area. So looking at what this project would bring, I think it would bring, it would be an asset to the community. So hopefully we can see that the numbers and everything makes sense. I just want everything to come together so we can finally get Mount Vernon on the right track. And I'm more appreciative that this is on the south side of Mount Vernon, because so many people come into our community and they want to just address the north side. But when you talk about revitalizing the south side where I was born and raised, it just warms my heart to see people want to actually invest in the area of our city that has been neglected for decades upon decades. So thank you for your presentation. And I hope as we continue to speak through this process that we can find some common ground, which is what's going to benefit Mount Vernon the most. And I hope that this project is a part of that. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, Lynn will make one final, close it up.
Yes, please. Thank you.
10 seconds. So just getting back to your numbers question. We actually did a study when we were putting together a packet for Con Edison, and it actually was a spreadsheet showing how many actual literal jobs and the different titles. Why didn't I send that spreadsheet? Would that help to? Awesome. That's thank you very, very much.
Okay, are there any other questions? Sure. 3 seconds and that's it.
You know, our technology is the only technology that is patented and approved by the utilities in North America. All right. And that's the reason we won the award with Con Edison. Con Edison sets the standard for utilities. So as far as job growth goes, our company is just going to blow up. I mean, it's going to expand tremendously because once Con Edison once Con Edison starts putting these systems in, which we already started, all right, the other utilities are going to follow suit. So it's hard to predict how many jobs it's going to be, but it's going to be a lot of jobs. There's going to be a lot of income coming in as far as the children come and electricians and stuff like that. So our company was evaluated at $10 billion, all right, for the future. That's going to require a lot of people, and the people will be coming from Mount Vernon. Is that short enough?
Does any other council member, we have to get on with the meeting, but does any other council member have any comments, statements? Okay, one thing I'll just add, I'm very excited about the vocational end of it. I really think it's very important, like, when this comes to fruition, which I believe it should, that we really focus on hiring within the city of Mount Vernon. When you talk about your MWBEs, we've had a lot of people come to council and say, oh, I'm hiring an MWBE, but guess what? They're not from Mount Vernon. And that's what we want to try and build our economy, right? Because we've had industry here for many years and then industry left. So this would be a great addition to the community. However, we can figure out how we work that and in partnership. But I mean, that'll be up to how it gets presented from the IDA, I believe. Did we figure out that process? We did, right? Okay, well, with that being said, thank you so much for being here tonight. We greatly appreciate it, but we have a full agenda. No break. We're gonna keep going. Is that okay? Okay, as soon as Councilman Potteet is done, we'll continue. Okay, on to our tally sheet. I am going in the right order, right? Yes, okay. Legislation and oh, what happened here? We lost one. Legislation and Public Works, Councilwoman Brown.
Thank you, Council President. Item number one, I have, an ordinance authorizing the inaugural Elevate 420 Festival and Food Stock Block Party that is being held. I have item number two, an ordinance authorizing the transfer of funds for travel expenses to attend Smart Cities Connect Spring Conference. That's on the agenda. Item number three, an ordinance authorizing attendance to the 2024 Smart Cities Connect Spring Conference and Expo. That's on the agenda. Item number four, an ordinance authorizing co-sponsorship of the third annual Autism Awareness Walk. That's on the agenda. Item number five is an ordinance authorizing a comprehensive traffic study on Fleetwood Avenue that is being held. And then I have an add-on, which is item number 16, an ordinance repealing outdated procurement legislation and adopting an updated procurement policy for the city of Mount Vernon, New York. That is on the agenda. Thank you, Council President.
Anybody have any questions? I have a question. Can you clarify just for the public why the traffic study on Fleetwood Avenue is being held?
It is being held because the proper procurement procedures were not followed, hence why we have an add-on to adopt the updated procurement policy so that everyone is on the same page moving forward.
Thank you, Councilwoman. I just wanted to make sure the public understood that hopefully this will come back at a later date once they follow proper procedures. Human Resources.
Thank you, Madam President. I have one item, item number 6 from the Department of Recreation, an ordinance authorizing the attendance at the convention sports entertainment facility, 3 employees to attend the 2024 CSEF conference. That's all. That's on the agenda.
Thank you, Councilman Thompson. And Public Safety and Codes, Councilman Potteet.
Thank you, Council President Gleason. Item number 7 is called for from the Department of Public Safety, an ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into a rental lease agreement between 1978 3rd Avenue LLC and the city of Mount Vernon to lease 6 Gramerton Avenue Suite 407. Item number 8 is on the agenda from Public Safety, an ordinance authorizing retroactive attendance for 2 members of service at the consensual encounters training. That was Thursday, February 2nd, 2024. Item number 9 is on the agenda from Public Safety, and ordinance authorizing the conversion of Municipal Lot 17 to permit parking. Item number 10 is on the agenda, and ordinance authorizing the attendance of 2 members of service at the criminal interdiction workshop training April 24th through 26th, 2024. And lastly, item number 11 is on the agenda also from Public Safety, and ordinance amending ordinance number 19 adopted by the City Council on March 27th, 2024, entitled "An Ordinance Authorizing Attendance at the 2024 Motorola Public Safety Summit from April 28th to May 2nd. That's all I have. I have one comment for item number 7, Council President, if I can give it. You had asked a question about item number 7, about IA. I spoke to Commissioner Gibson. Their offices are flooded out. And so because of continued damage to the police station, they have to relocate out of the police station to this facility. Thank you.
Council President, Mayor.
Go right ahead, Councilwoman Brown.
So if the offices are flooded out, why wasn't it included in the referral letter?
Why wasn't that common?
Yes,
I don't know.
like that's the purpose of the referral letters for
Yeah.
us to know why we should pass legislation.
I don't know. I mean, it's called for, so hopefully when it comes up in 2 weeks, we can make sure that they have it, but I don't know why they didn't put it in this time.
Any other questions for public safety and codes? I have a question. Item number 8, and I apologize, I meant to ask you this the other night. How come anybody was sent to this, the attendance for 2 members of service at the consensual encounters training without authorization?
Are we
It
talking,
says February 2nd, 2024. It says retroactive.
which item?
Item number 8, retroactive training.
Oh, I'm on the agenda.
Yeah, item number 8, I'm not sure. The only reason I can give is that they forgot to send it to us earlier.
Okay, moving on. Item, finance and planning, Councilman Boxill.
Thank you. Number 12, an ordinance authorizing the title change of Associate Commissioner to Assistant Commissioner from Planning, that's on the agenda. An ordinance authorizing the budget specialist to attend American Society of Public Administration, ASPA conference, that's April 12th to the 16th. That's this week. That's on the agenda. And an ordinance authorizing the attendance of a JAS administrator at the 2024 ESRI user conference from July 15th to 19th, 2024. That's on the agenda. And an ordinance establishing the second assistant commissioner position in the department and relocate ARPA funds. That's called for. That's all I have.
Thank you so much. Does anybody have any questions on finance and planning? Okay, with that being said, there are no questions. Let's move on to the final meeting agenda. Starting with
Roll call.
roll call. I was reading the directions.
Okay, thank you, Council President. Councilman Boxell.
Present.
Thank you. Councilwoman Brown.
Here.
Thank you. Councilman Potteet.
Here in present.
Thank you. Councilman Thompson.
Here.
You and Council President Gleason.
Here. Let's get into our legislative agenda. Legislation and Public Works, Councilwoman Brown.
Item number 1, I have an ordinance authorizing the transfer of funds for travel expenses to attend Smart City Connect Spring Conference. So moved.
Second.
On the question? Hearing none, roll call.
Councilman Boxell.
Aye.
Councilwoman Brown.
Aye.
Councilman Potteet.
Aye.
Councilman Thompson.
Aye.
Council President Gleason.
Aye.
Item number 2, an ordinance authorizing attendance to the 2024 Smart Cities Connect Spring Conference and Expo. So moved.
Second.
On the question? Hearing none, roll call.
Councilman Boxell.
Aye.
Councilwoman Brown,
Aye.
Councilman Potteet,
Aye.
Councilman Thompson,
Aye.
Council President Gleason.
Aye.
Item number 3, an ordinance authorizing co-sponsorship for the 3rd annual Autism Awareness Walk. So moved.
Second.
On the question? Hearing none, roll call.
Councilman Boxell,
Aye.
Councilwoman Brown,
Aye.
Councilman Potteet,
Aye.
Councilman Thompson,
Aye.
Council President Gleason.
Aye.
Item number 4, an ordinance authorizing attendance at the convention. Just kidding, I have an add-on. I have an ordinance repealing outdated procurement legislation and adopting an updated procurement policy for the city of Mount Vernon, New York. So moved.
Second.
On the question, Councilwoman Brown, would you like to say something on the question?
Yes, absolutely. You know, this procurement policy has been a project. Let's say that it's taken 2.5 years to get here. By law, right? City council is supposed to review this ordinance every year, update it if necessary. And the last update we had in the city was in May of 1992. So it was long overdue. I think we're finally getting to a place where we can have some understanding across departments on how things should be done. The current legislation calls for annual training so that new people can come in and they can be aware of the procedures and of the processes that they need to go through. I think it'll avoid some confusion here at the council level as well. And just greater efficiency throughout the city, right? So that we're actually procuring, we're keeping it competitive, we're making sure we're watching how we spend taxpayer money, and that we're not showing favoritism to people who've generally assisted the city hall in the past. So I'm super excited that this is passing. And well, hopefully it's passing, everybody's voting for it. But I'm super excited that it's on the agenda. So thank you, that's all I have to say.
Any other questions by council? Go ahead, Councilman Potteet.
Just want to say quickly, I hate reading. So we're fortunate to have a lawyer on council that we can actually get moving on some of these items. So thank you, Council President.
I happen to agree with you. Okay, anybody else on the question? Hearing none, roll call.
Okay, this is roll call for item number 12. Councilman Boxell,
Aye.
Councilwoman Brown,
So I'm gonna vote. I'm just looking at this legislation and it needs to be corrected on the floor. There's a section in here that says insert year of enactment, and that seems like it should have been entered prior to on the first page in section 2.
corrected on the floor.
Yeah, so we'll need to correct it on the floor if the council is in favor of that.
I agree.
So the year would be 1992, as I just said. Now I'm nervous, to see what else is, yeah, so this also says the first whereas section. Do we know why that's written that way? This is for the law department. Yeah, why do we have retroactive payment? This is a policy adopting. We're adopting a policy. All right, so all of my excitement kind of is washed. I think we should hold this until the legislation is corrected.
Okay, so can we have a motion?
Yeah, so I move to withdraw the initial motion to put the item on the agenda.
Can I have a second?
Second.
You understand the motion, clerk?
Yes,
Okay, you want to do a roll call?
yes, roll call, Councilman Boxell,
Aye.
Councilwoman Brown,
Aye.
Councilman Potteet.
Aye.
Councilman Thompson,
Aye.
Council President Gleason.
Aye. Can we also make sure that this is ready to go and on on par for the next meeting.
Yeah, so
Doesn't-
just before we move on, just
Yeah.
want to hold item number, the add-on the floor. Is that okay with the
Yes, we
council?
gotta make a motion to hold it on the floor.
Mhm.
You making that motion?
I move to hold, the add-on the floor.
Second.
On the question? Roll call?
Councilman Boxell,
Aye.
Councilwoman Brown,
Aye.
Councilman Potteet,
Aye.
Councilman Thompson,
Aye.
Council President Gleason.
Aye.
Thank you.
Human Resources. Councilman Tom.
Thank you. I have an ordinance authorizing attendance at the Convention Sports Entertainment Facility. 3 employees to attend the 2024 CSEF conference. So move.
Second.
On the question? Hearing none, roll call.
Councilman Boxell,
Aye.
Councilwoman Brown,
Aye.
Councilman Potteet,
Aye.
Councilman Thompson,
Aye.
Council President Gleason.
Aye. Moving on to Public Safety and Codes, Councilman Potteet.
Council President Gleason, thank you. Item number 5 from Public Safety and Ordinance authorizing retroactive attendance for 2 members of service at the consensual encounters training that happened on Thursday, February 2nd, 2024. So moved.
Second.
On the question? Hearing none, roll call.
Councilman Boxell,
Aye.
Councilwoman Brown.
Abstain, we don't know why, it's retroactive.
Okay. Councilman Potteet,
Aye.
Councilman Thompson,
Aye.
Council President Gleason.
No, I don't think any training should come retroactively. We have asked the commissioners on several occasions for this not to happen. I think they're all in position long enough not to do this. So I'm voting no.
Okay, thank you. So we have 3 yeas, 1 abstention and 1 no. This legislation will have to go for a second vote. Okay.
Item number 6, Department of Public Safety and Ordinance authorizing the conversion of municipal lot 17 to permanent parking. So moved.
Second.
On the question? Hearing none, roll call.
Councilman Boxell,
Aye.
Councilwoman Brown,
Aye.
Councilman Potteet,
Aye.
Councilman Thompson,
Aye.
Council President Gleason.
Aye.
Item number 7, Department of Public Safety and Ordinance authorizing the attendance of 2 members of service at the Criminal Interdiction Workshop Training from April 24th to 26th. So moved.
Second.
On the question? Hearing none, roll call.
Councilman Boxell,
Aye.
Councilwoman Brown,
Aye.
Councilman Potteet,
Aye.
Councilman Thompson,
Aye.
Council President Gleason.
Aye.
Thank you.
Item number 8.
Oh,
Sorry.
go. Good. Aren't you done?
Item number 8, Department of Public Safety and Ordinance amending Ordinance number 19 adopted by the City Council on March 27th, 2024, entitled an ordinance authorizing attendance at the 2024 Motorola Public Safety Summit from April 28th to May 2nd. So moved.
Second.
On the question? Hearing none, roll call.
Councilman Boxell,
Aye.
Councilwoman Brown,
Aye.
Councilman Potteet,
Aye.
Councilman Thompson,
Aye.
Council President Gleason.
Aye. Councilman Boxill, Finance and Planning.
All right, number 9, an ordinance authorizing the title change of Associate Commissioner to Assistant Commissioner. So moved.
Second.
On the question? Hearing none, roll call.
Councilman Boxell,
Aye.
Councilwoman Brown,
Aye.
Councilman Potteet,
Aye.
Councilman Thompson,
Aye.
Council President Gleason.
I'm abstaining because I still don't understand why we're switching the title.
Okay. All right, we have 4 ayes, 1 abstention. The legislation still passes.
All right, moving on, number 10, an ordinance authorizing the budget specialist to attend the American Society of Public Administration Conference, that's April 12th to the 16th, 2024. So moved.
Second.
On the question? Hearing none, roll call.
Councilman Box Hill,
Aye.
Councilwoman Brown,
Aye.
Councilman Potteet,
Aye.
Councilman Thompson,
Aye.
Council President Gleason.
Aye. There's one more.
Item number 11, Department of Planning and Community Development, an ordinance authorizing the attendance of the GIS administrator at the 2024 S3 User Conference from July 15th to 19th, 2024. So moved.
Second.
On the question? Hearing none, roll call.
Councilman Box Hill,
Aye.
Councilwoman Brown,
Aye.
Councilman Potteet,
Aye.
Councilman Thompson,
Aye.
Council President Gleason.
Aye.
Thank you.
So with that being said, are there any further statements or comments from council? Okay, let's go with Thompson first and then Potteet.
Just want to remind everyone that this month is Autism Awareness Month. So if you know anyone, family, friends, or anyone who has any children who's autistic, there's several events going on throughout the city as well as in the school district. So and you know, be kind, send some flowers to someone who has an autistic child because it will lift their spirits as well. And be there for them if you're close enough to deal with their children as well. Give them an hour or two break and give them some time to themselves, and it will help a lot. That's all.
Councilman Potteet.
Shout out to the Fleetwood Neighborhood Association for coming out last night for the second round of the comp plan and having their first face-to-face meeting since the pandemic.
Any other statements or comments? Well, I just got back from Boca Raton and we went to Mount Vernon Day down in Florida, and there were seasoned Mount Vernonites, some younger Mount Vernonites, but I have to tell you, it was a lot of fun, and I want to give Linda Nigro, who is a former Mount Vernon City School District trustee, but also an active member of the Mount Vernon Police Foundation. She did a great job with her committee. And, you know, I encourage people for in the next 2 years to go because it's every 2 years. With that being said, somebody want to make a motion to close? What did I do wrong now? We got to do executive session, sorry. Oh, I said my comments. Now everybody can just log off then. Go ahead.
Nobody.
I make a motion that we go into executive session for an interview. So move.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilman Box Hill,
Aye.
Councilwoman Brown,
Aye.
Councilman Potteet,
We were so close. Aye.
Councilman Thompson,
Aye.
Council President Gleason.
Aye.
Thank you. The time is 8:21.
Thank you.
Right, 1 second.
You need a little sugar? Sure. Seems like do you want some sugar? Which one do you want?
Yeah, this is me and Danielle. I don't know if you're gonna bring it in with.
I move to exit executive session.
Second.
Third, fourth, fifth.
On the question? Hearing none,
Councilman Boxell,
Aye.
Councilwoman Brown,
Aye.
Councilman Potteet.
Aye.
Councilman Thompson,
Aye.
Council President Gleason.
aye, if there,
I move we adjourn this meeting.
Second.
Second. The time is 8:40 PM. Hold 1 second, okay?
I move that we adjourn this meeting, so move.
Second.
I'm not gonna say on the question. Roll call, go ahead.
Councilman Boxell,
Aye.
Councilwoman Brown,
Aye.
Councilman Potteet,
Aye.
Councilman Thompson,
Aye.
Council President Gleason.
Aye.
Thank you.
Have a good night, Mount Vernon.